Hello and welcome to the UMass Amherst Career Development and Professional Connections Hub presentation on networking beyond LinkedIn. The following is a brief presentation on the importance of networking and some tips and tricks on how to improve your networking skills in both the virtual and physical world. All right, so you may be asking yourself, why is networking so important? Well, first and foremost, it helps you create, maintain mutually beneficial relationships. Keywords there are mutually beneficial. Networking isn't just about what can someone else do for me, or how can they help me get a job or an interview, or help me with my resume or cover letter. It's about what can we do for each other. So they might be able to help you with your professional development or help you along your career path, but you also might be able to help them with a project or with another skill set that you have, help them in their business. So again, it's mutually beneficial. So make sure you think about that as you are networking. Again, you can meet potential partners, clients, or mentors. You never know who you might meet through those types of events, or just reaching out to people that you know. So make sure that kind of just keep an open mind about who you're meeting, so that way you can develop your network as much as possible, because you might need them in the future. It also helps you stay current on latest trends in your industry. As you meet more people, you're going to hear about new ideas. You might develop some new ideas yourself that you can pass along. And the more up to date and current you are, again, the more professional you're going to look. It also helps you develop and hone your skills. A lot of that's going to be public speaking and written and verbal communication skills. But again, you're also going to be thinking about your industry and the skills that you have. Maybe as you meet someone, they talk about how they used something in another way, and now you can kind of develop that as well. So because of that information. So you never know, again, what type of people you're going to meet and what type of information they might have that would help your own skill development. Again, it's going to help you foster your career development, because you're going to meet more people, be exposed to more types of jobs, companies, etc., and that can kind of help you say, what do I want to do? Maybe you want to go and do a different work for a different company, or do a different job based off of who you've met in a networking environment. All right, as the title of this presentation, Networking Beyond LinkedIn, suggests, LinkedIn is a great place to start and come back to as you progress through your networking experiences. So it is the most widely used social networking tool, with over 500 million profiles. It's almost like a never-ending amount of people and companies that you can connect with and add to your network. The great part about having a really awesome profile on LinkedIn is that over 94% of recruiters are using LinkedIn to help vet their candidates. So you want to make sure that your profile looks good, and that the people that you connect with and the things that you like, just keep that all professional, because again, recruiters are looking at it. So it is, as I mentioned, the most widely used tool for professional development and networking. It allows you to job search. There's a job search function on there, so you can, based off of whatever industry or whatever job you're looking for, you can go find things across the globe. Allows you to build your brand. So we have a whole other presentation on LinkedIn on our website. So we highly recommend you go into that. That can kind of talk to you about how you can build your profile, make it more into a portfolio that's more visually pleasing than kind of a typical profile with just words. But allows you to kind of build upon your resume and get skills and things like that onto your profile to make it more appealing to future employers, or just recruiters, or other people that are looking at your LinkedIn profile. You can also research companies to kind of find out companies that you might want to work for, or work with, or partner with, or whatever you're looking to do with your career. It also, again, you build your network. So as you connect with people, then you'll get more connections based off of that person and who they're connected with, and you can kind of start to find people that are of interest to you that you might be able to interview down the line to kind of get more information. So again, LinkedIn is a great place to start and come back to with these people that you meet, with business cards that you get, things like that. But we want you to, again, this is beyond LinkedIn. So we want you to get out and actually either virtually meet with people or physically meet with people to kind of build that network. All right, let's go over some networking basics. There's 2 golden rules when it comes to networking. First, you're never going to openly ask for an interview. Instead, you're going to ask questions to see if the company is a good fit. So whether you're in a virtual networking space or whether a physical networking space, or if you're on LinkedIn or asking friends of family members or whatever, you're never just going to say, hey, can I get an interview? Instead, you're going to ask them questions about the company environment, the physical environment, or anything about a company or an environment that would be important to you. So if you're an introvert and you don't like working around a lot of people and you want kind of that private space, making sure that you have that so that you can work effectively. If you're extroverted and like being around people and kind of having that din around you, like studying in a cafe or something like that, then you want to make sure that that's the type of environment that's going to have that they will have as well. Again, think about what's important for you when it comes to the environment that you need to work in and the company you would want to work for, and then ask questions to find out if that company would work for you. Secondly, you're never going to ask for a job. So instead of saying, hey, can I get a job? You might say, hey, I'm in the market for a new position. Would you mind letting me know about any potential opportunities? I'd be extremely grateful. Something along the lines. That way they can make the connection that you're looking for a job. If they're impressed with you during that networking experience, which hopefully they would be, then they can let you know down the line when an opportunity pops up. It is extremely common for that to happen where an employer already has a person that they've met in mind for a position before they even post it, or they may not even post it. So it's very important that you impress during these types of networking events. Some other follow-up things I'll just mention. Obviously, dress professionally and aim to impress with not only your appearance, but your speech. If you're writing something, again, your emails, make sure that there's no typos or anything like that. Do some research on the company or the people you're meeting with so that you can impress them and have some kind of talking points that show that you've done your research and that you care. Also, I would recommend having business cards for yourself with your LinkedIn URL on them. If you're not familiar with how to add your LinkedIn URL to your business, to change it rather to an easier one to follow, there is a video on our website that will teach you how to do that, or you can YouTube it because there's a million on there as well. As you give out business cards, you will most likely get some in return. Make sure that you follow up on those business cards, whether that's on LinkedIn, and connect with those people. Or you can also send that person an email. I would personalize the email simply saying, hey, it was great to meet you at such and such event. I highly enjoyed our conversation about X, Y, and Z. I look forward to, collaborating or connecting with you in the future. Something like that so that they remember who you are, especially if it was a bigger event and they may have spoken to a lot of people. So those are just some basic things about networking. Okay, if we're talking about networking, we have to talk about elevator pitches. So an elevator pitch, just picture this: the company that you really, really want to work for, and the CEO of that company just happens to be in an elevator with you, and it's just that person and you are riding up to whatever floor, and you have 30 seconds to try and impress this person, maybe get an interview, maybe get a job, something like that, and you need to, 30 seconds to kind of sell yourself. That's what an elevator pitch is. And this can be often used in networking things because someone might just say, well, what do you do? And then you have to kind of think on your feet and come up with about a 30-second to 45-second introduction on who you are, what you do, and what your goals are as far as getting a job. Maybe you're working on a project, trying to find someone to kind of help you with that project, whatever you are looking to do. Just think about that, have that in your mind, have that kind of pitch in your head. An elevator pitch is constantly being updated and changed to fit wherever you are in your life. So if you're trying to get a job, it's going to look like one thing. If you are trying to find someone to fund a project or some other kind of pitch, then it's obviously going to adapt to that. So it's not one thing that stays like that for your entire life. As you're watching this, there's a video here from Candid Career Videos on how to develop an elevator pitch, and they give you some examples as well. It's about a 4-minute video, so please watch that. I highly recommend that because that'll kind of give you a bit more of an in-depth discussion about elevator pitches and how to craft one. Okay, so through either LinkedIn, maybe a career fair or other networking event, or maybe you just met someone or a family or friend knew someone that you should talk to, you have either a person or maybe a representative from a company that you really would like to speak with to kind of learn more about either their career path, their job, the company, whatever. So an informational interview would be a perfect opportunity for you to learn what you need to learn or the advice that you would like from that professional. So you just contact them via email. You could try via LinkedIn if you wanted to. I would recommend email. I think that's more professional. And then just requesting an informational interview. This quick little interview or email rather, make sure it's not lengthy. These people obviously are very busy and they don't have a ton of time to read a huge email, and that's going to also be kind of off-putting if it's a long email talking about who you are. So really just kind of say, hey, this is who I am. This is what I'd like to speak with you. Maybe grab a cup of coffee. It doesn't have to be in an office setting. It certainly could be at a cafe or somewhere else. So again, these are really great for just kind of getting some answers and getting some advice about your own career path or if you have other things that you're looking for advice on. So the first and foremost, you want to be prepared. So that that preparation is going to be there's a couple of things. So first of all, you want to make sure that you're aiming to impress both in your speech, in your writing, in your communication, but also in how you dress. So whether that's virtually or physically, make sure that you're dressing professionally, looking professional. If it's in a virtual setting, make sure that your backdrop doesn't have anything too distracting or unprofessional, so that way they are focusing on you and not whatever's behind you. That research is also going to be into the company or the person, and think about like what information rather are you trying to learn and get, or what advice do you want from this person. So once you have those types of things, those answers to those questions in your own mind of what you're hoping to get, then you could start kind of drafting a coherent list of questions that will kind of get to those answers. So the good thing about a list also is it shows your professionalism, and it shows that you care and put actual thought into this interview, and you didn't just show up and ask some random questions. Okay. So basically there's 3 steps to an informational interview. The first is the warm-up. That one, you're really just you're going to ask them some questions about themselves. People really like talking about themselves, the things that they're proud of, their accomplishments, and that is what you're trying to do in that warm-up, is simply say, okay, please talk about yourself and tell me the cool things that you've done for this company or in your career path. We have some examples of some questions here in a second for you to use if you want, but there's also tons of different questions online if you just search for it. They also may ask you some questions about yourself after that, so make sure that you have some succinct question or answers rather to questions about who you are and what you're doing. But again, this interview is not about you. It's about what you can learn from this person. So don't spend too much time on yourself. So the second part is get what you came for. So you had some information that you were trying to learn or advice you were trying to get. This is where you ask those questions to get to that information. So again, we have some questions on the next slide, I believe, to help you kind of draft those questions. Then you're also going to expand your network. So at the end, you're going to ask them very politely and respectfully if they could recommend maybe 2 or 3 more people that you could speak to about XYZ. So you're not just going to say, hey, is there anyone else that I could speak to? That's going to be really hard for them to answer that question because it's not very specific. Instead, you might want to say, Could you recommend a few more people I could speak to about changing careers into networking, changing careers into this, or starting a career into that, or whatever topic you're interested in? That will help them hone in on actual people in their network that could answer those questions. So after your informational interview is completed, you want to send a thank you note. Right now, obviously in a virtual world, an email is fine. As life returns a little bit more to a normal state and we can send personal thank you notes, those are always preferable because they just show you took a little bit extra time and care. Again, right now, an email is fine. Email thank you notes fine. Again, remind them, kind of bring that personal connection back in case they have a lot of informational interviews or they're just really busy. Maybe something you spoke to or spoke about, a project or something like that they can kind of remember who you are and the conversation that they had. The other key thing about informational interviewing is maintaining contact over time. So as the weeks and months go by, again, reach out and just say, you're just going to want to either ask them a question about something, just maybe ask how they're doing, whatever it is, but you're going to want to continue to kind of refresh their memory about you and your conversation, especially considering a lot of times these types of informational interviews can lead to job opportunities down the line, because they now know that you are looking for a job in such and such field. They know you're professional, they've heard you communicate, and they can kind of refer you to people. So make sure if you're constantly maintaining that contact, then you'll be constantly in their memory, and that'll help out in the future versus like for them forgetting about you. So two videos here that you can watch. There's one on the basics of informational interviewing that will go over a bunch of what we just went through and some other stuff. That's from Candid Career Videos, as well as a virtual interviewing video. This virtual interviewing is a little bit more about actual interviewing for like jobs or careers. However, in this virtual world right now, it's going to be some very similar key points to an informational interview. So take a look at both of those. We highly recommend them. Again, Candid Career Videos has a bunch of different videos on a lot of different career topics. So we highly recommend you check that out as well for more types of videos on career development. So as I mentioned, here are some sample questions that you can ask in a informational interview. The first, can you tell me a bit about your career path and how you landed at the role you have now? And that's kind of that like, hey, talk about yourself, right? That's that warm up. If you have specific questions, again, what does a workday look like for you? What are your early roles in this field? Maybe you want to, work up that ladder. So that's a question to kind of figure out, okay, what types of roles do I need in order to get to where this person is? Again, what's the workday look like? Make sure that type of work is suitable for you and that it's something that you'd want to do. What do you enjoy most about the work you do? What do you enjoy least about the work you do? That's an okay question to ask as well, because you want to know what's the good stuff and what are the bad things about whatever job this person has. What are your biggest challenges? What are your biggest successes? Those are fine. A good question to ask at the end is, are there any questions I should have asked but didn't? A lot of times as you're drafting these questions and doing your research, maybe you don't see a really big piece of the puzzle. And by asking this question allows the interviewee rather, to kind of enlighten you to something you didn't really consider before. All right, lastly and real quick, I just wanted to go over the UMass Amherst Alumni Career Support page. So if you were to go to the UMass Amherst Alumni website, you'll see the banner that's at the top here. Just click on Career, and that gets you to the page that we're at right now. So off to your left, there's a whole bunch of different resources for you to choose from. Your first one, your career building blocks, that will give you resources like webinars that are active right now. There's some resources on resume, cover letters, LinkedIn, networking, all of that, kind of trying to build those and make sure those look good for you. There are also, again, some interviewing tips, and then there's also a link to the LinkedIn alumni, UMass Amherst alumni group. Even if you are not an alumnat and you're still a student, you can go in, you can get into that particular group, and that will open up a lot of different networks for you. So if you're struggling with trying to build your network, that's a great place to start. Then there's obviously the job search. In the job search, there's a bunch of different resources that you can use to kind of help with your job search, along with the ones like Indeed and Monster and whatnot, and LinkedIn, of course. In networking, that's where kind of two really cool functions of this support are. There's career counselors, and then there's the alumni advisor network. So career counselors can certainly help you along if you're sitting here saying, I got a degree, but I don't know what I want to do with it, or if you're just kind of really struggling with that, or any kind of other bits and pieces about your career, you can certainly reach out to them. Or you can reach out to, again, the advisor network. They're going to act like mentors for you. They can help you with mock interviewing, reviewing your cover letter or resumes or CVs or whatever types of professional documents you have. And again, it's a free resource for UMass alum. So definitely take a look at it and use that resource if that is something that would benefit you. In self-improvement, there are a few more other similar resources. There's also Big Interview, which would help you. It's a resource online that UMass Amherst has bought into that can help you with improve your interviewing skills in kind of a virtual setting. So you'll be able to answer questions from a virtual person in real time, and also kind of see what you look like as you're answering those questions, which we highly recommend you do, because a lot of times you don't recognize how you sound or what you look like when you're answering a question. So those are the different resources on this particular page. Again, feel free to explore this one, check it out, and see what types of resources might benefit you. If you have any questions, we're going to give you a link on the next page where you can ask us some questions. All right, so that concludes our presentation. If you have any questions about anything that we talked about, or if anything's unclear, please reach out to us down at the Career Development Professional Connections Hub in 511 Goodell. That's where we normally are when school is in session and we're open. Otherwise, you can reach out to us at careerservices@umass.edu, and one of our team members will get back to you as soon as possible. We can certainly help you with resume and some resume review, potentially depending on your major, or at least we can kind of guide you in the right direction. So there's plenty of resources on that website, which is umass.edu/careers that are free to use, things like Big Interview and Career Shift that can certainly help you along your road. So take a look at that, and we wish you the best of luck in your professional networking and career future. All right, bye.